Mold flange cleaning and maintenance is a very important part of the molding process. Proper maintenance will help create quality parts, prevent mold damage, and maximize the tool's life expectancy. Flashing buildup will shorten the life of the tools by damaging the mold flanges. If not properly cleaned and maintained, buildup will lead to a cascade effect where the buildup will damage the flange, allowing more buildup, which will cause more damage. This cycle will continue until proper maintenance is performed. Damaged flanges will create more parting line flashing on the finished parts, as well as making parts more difficult for the foamers and final assemblers as well. A clean and free-coated flange requires very little extra effort on the part of the operator and produces parts that are easy to work with and maximizes tool life. While mold flanges should always be kept as clean as possible, there are certain older molds that have flanges that have been damaged over the years that need certain areas of flashing to be left on the parting line. These areas of flashing act like a gasket and seal up the bent areas of the flange that would otherwise leak powder. This practice requires experience and skill from the operator. Just the right amount of flashing needs to remain to keep the mold sealed. If too much is allowed to build up, the mold will be damaged further. Aluminum molds such as this one have a different style of parting line flange and require a different method of maintenance. Only plastic tools should be used on aluminum molds. Steel scrapers and pry bars should never be used on an aluminum mold. Extra attention should also be used when refilling and closing molds such as these, and all loose powder must be brushed off completely every round before the mold is sealed to prevent buildup as much as possible. When plastic does build up, the mold will need to be taken out of service and cleaned. It falls upon the machine operator to keep the mold flanges clean and serviceable. On steel molds, a putty knife should be used to scrape off any built-up powder flashing from the flange. The more frequently this is done, the easier the maintenance becomes, and shouldn't require more than a few minutes. Aluminum molds should only be scraped with a plastic scraper. A metal putty knife will almost instantly damage the mold. If more than a putty knife is required, or there is heavy buildup on an aluminum mold, a supervisor should be notified so that they or maintenance can assist, or the mold can be taken out of service and have a thorough cleaning performed. Neglective molds will need to have the flanges carefully scraped and sanded back to bare metal in the maintenance shop. Here is an example of a tool with a reasonably clean flange. While in use, you should not see more plastic buildup than this. As more plastic buildup occurs, the tool should be scraped, free-coated, and then put back into service. Flanges that are kept clean should be coated with mold release frequently to prevent flashing buildup and allow the molded part and any part flashing present to release easily. Preventative maintenance in these situations can save a lot of time and headaches in the course of a shift. Make sure that the flanges are clean and brushed free of any powder after the molds have been filled. Take the time needed to scrape the excess flashing from the flanges, as it will save time and effort by reducing downtime, mold damage, and molds having to be taken out of service. A properly cleaned and maintained flange makes everyone's job a little bit easier.